Talk to me first about your vouchers plan and where it is and what the obstacle has been as you've tried to move it from subcommittee to committee and if it can go on from there.
Well, actually, the bill now is moving from a subcommittee.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine.
Actually, the bill is Senate Bill 2494. It was heard in subcommittee, and now it will be heard in the entire Senate Executive Committee. And I hope to pass it out of that committee onto the floor. What the bill does is that it provides for the kids in Chicago that are in the worst schools, in the lowest 10%. So there's 49 elementary schools, 15 high schools, that those kids, if their parents want to, will be entitled to a voucher, and they can take that voucher and go to any private school that the parent wants to put the child in.
Let's talk a little bit about the bill's future and the next steps in the process before we get to the meat of the bill. Have you had any conversations with the Senate President, with any of the leadership?
I've had conversations with the Senate President, and he actually believes that that bill is going to pass out of the Senate. And I have had limited conversations with people representing the House, and they seem to believe that the bill is going to be called in the House, and we believe the bill will pass the House.
Have you had any conversations with the governor?
I have not had any conversations with the governor.
All right. Let's talk about what sort of opposition have you been. The first subcommittee, there were a number of concerns raised by teachers' unions, even raised by some parents. How has that been impacting the path of this bill? Certainly it can't be easy when you have teachers' unions opposing this.
Well, no, it's never easy, but teachers' union is also opposing a two-tier pension system. But a two-tier pension system is going to have to happen. So just because they oppose it, it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. The obstacle, and the biggest obstacle, is that to educate my colleagues on the fact that the public schools actually will not lose dollars. For instance, when a kid goes to a voucher and receives $3,500, $3,600 for the voucher, then the remaining $7,000 is still left in the school district, and the school district has in turn reduced class size. They don't have that student anymore, and so perhaps it could be a win-win because class size will be reduced.
What about this argument that the kids who are going to move are the ones who need to be in that school? They have parents who are involved, parents who care enough about their education to go and follow the voucher program, and that really with school choice, with a voucher program, you're skimming the cream off the top and leaving the rest who generally have poor test scores anyway.
Let's deal with this fact. It's a failing school. All the kids are failing, which means nobody needs to stay. It's a failing school. We have not figured out a remedy to how to turn that school around. And so if some parents, let me turn around your argument to say, what about those parents that do want an option? This provides them with an option as opposed to them not having an option at all. So if you're in a boat and the boat is sinking and you can't save 30 kids, I'd rather save 12.
Illinois was notified today that we are a finalist for Race to the Top dollars.
Right.
What is your thought on that program? There's some opposition from downstate schools who don't know if it's worth it or that they're going to get anything. I think the expectations in Chicago are for close to $1 billion. Just your reaction that we are a finalist, and what are your expectations?
We worked hard on the Race to the Top application. I was in all of the final negotiations. I hope and I believe that our chances are good. The problem is with one-time revenue, because we got one-time revenue from the stimulus dollars. And Illinois is becoming used to one-time revenue. Even when Race to the Top comes, we'll still have to put some revenue in place to continue those programs.
Last question that I want to ask you. The state superintendent was in a Senate committee today, talked about if he gets the budget that he's asking for, his full budget, there could still be as many as 13,500 layoffs at schools across the state. again, just your reaction to that, and is this the economic reality that all schools are going to face, that it is bad now, but it is about to get a lot worse next year?
If the Senate passed House Bill 174, the House has not passed it. That was the tax increase bill. I've had that bill for 7 years. I've been saying for 7 years that this day was coming if we don't have an income tax increase. We have not passed an income tax increase, and now that day is here.
What do you say to schools that are late getting state aid and are now being told by the superintendent, you're probably going to have to fire a lot of teachers, a lot of administrators, you may even have to cut programs?
I say to those schools that the answers and the solutions are in the General Assembly. And if the General Assembly wanted to solve it, we could.
Would you vote for and this will be my last question, would you vote for Governor Quinn's tax increase proposal, or would you wait for the House to take up the proposal that was passed by the Senate last year?
I believe that any tax increase that's passed under this dome is going to have to be passed in the House first. I don't believe the senators are going to pass a tax increase not knowing its fate in the House.
Senator, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, guys.